The Corvex station floated in the darkness of space like a massive metal beast. Inside its largest cargo bay, hundreds of alien creatures gathered for the monthly graveyard auction. This was where dead ships came to find new owners. Marcus Chen stood at the back of the crowd, counting his last credits on a flickering datapad. 217 credits. That was all he had left in the entire galaxy. His stomach growled. He ignored it. Food could wait. He needed a ship. Lot number 47, the auctioneer's voice boomed through the bay. The auctioneer was a Corvex, a six-armed creature with blue skin and too many eyes. One Thalian pleasure yacht, minor hull damage. Who will start the bidding? Then the auctioneer's voice changed. It became quieter, almost nervous. Lot number 93, the Corvex said. The Valkros warship Eternal Dirge, abandoned 89 years ago, sold as is, no guarantees. On the massive display screen, an image appeared. The ship was enormous, bigger than anything else at the auction. It had a dark hull covered in strange symbols. The design was sharp and aggressive, like a knife floating in space. Valkros Tech, someone in the crowd laughed. It was a Centauri merchant, his scales flashing with amusement. That's worthless scrap. The technology doesn't work for anyone else. Every Valkros simply vanished. Their ships were found floating in space, completely empty. Starting bid is 500 credits, the auctioneer said. Nobody moved. 400, still nothing. The auctioneer's eyes drooped with disappointment. 200 credits for a warship, surely someone. The stupid human wants the cursed ship. 15 different buyers have tried to salvage it. All failed. The Valkros systems won't activate for anyone. Going twice, he waited, probably hoping someone else would bid. Nobody did. Sold to the human for 200 credits. His hands shook slightly as he transferred his last credits. The terminal beeped and a data chip popped out. The ship's access codes and location. Good luck, human, the Centauri merchant called out mockingly. You'll need it with that death trap. If this ship doesn't work, we're stranded here. The success rate is 0%. And because humans have something these aliens don't. Marcus's footsteps echoed in the empty space. At the far end, behind 50 other forgotten wrecks, sat the Eternal Dirge. Marcus stopped walking. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. It was at least 3 times larger than he expected. The hull was perfectly black, absorbing the light around it. The Valkros symbols glowed faintly with a purple light. The design was aggressive and sharp, like a predator ready to strike. VERA, scan the ship, Marcus said. Scanning now, VERA replied. A moment passed. Then another, Marcus, this is unusual. But I'm reading active systems inside. Life support appears to be functioning. Gravity is working. It's like the ship is waiting. The outer airlock door had scratches on it, deep scratches, like something with claws had tried to get out from the inside. VERA, are you seeing this? His finger hovered over the airlock control panel. The Valkros access code from the data chip would open it. But did he really want to go inside? He thought about his empty stomach, his 0 credits, his complete lack of other options. Marcus pressed the button. The airlock hissed and slowly opened. Air rushed out, old and stale. Marcus clicked on his headlamp and stepped inside. The corridor was pristine, clean white walls, functional lights that automatically turned on as he entered. Everything looked brand new. Marcus walked forward slowly. His light swept across the walls. He passed a common room. Inside, he saw tables with cups still sitting on them. Coffee cups or whatever the Valkros drank, like the crew had just stepped away for a moment. This doesn't make sense, Marcus whispered. Where are the bodies? Where's the damage? Where's any sign of what happened? At the end of the corridor, something moved in the darkness, a shadow that shouldn't be there. Marcus froze. His hand went to the plasma cutter on his belt. Hello, he called out. His voice echoed through the empty ship. The shadow moved again, closer this time. Then the lights went out. Marcus stood frozen in complete darkness. His headlamp was the only light in the corridor. His heart hammered in his chest. "VERA, what just happened?" he whispered. "The ship cut main power to this section," VERA replied. "But life support is still running. It's like the ship is testing us." Each corridor looked the same, clean, pristine, and completely empty. It was like walking through a ghost town. Every room he passed was frozen in time. Personal quarters with beds neatly made. A medical bay with equipment still organized on trays. A kitchen with pots hanging on hooks. "VERA, scan for life signs," Marcus said. "Scanning. No biological life detected. But Marcus, the ship systems are more active than I initially thought. The computer core is running complex processes. It's almost like..." The command center of the Eternal Dirge was massive. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps and system readouts. Command chairs sat in neat rows. At the center was the captain's seat, elevated above the others. Marcus stepped onto the bridge slowly. Everything was operational. Navigation screens glowed with data. Status reports scrolled past in Valcross script that he couldn't read. "This is impossible," Marcus said. "A ship doesn't run itself for 89 years." It was surprisingly comfortable. In front of him, a main display activated, showing the ship's status. He couldn't read the Valcross language, but the symbols were clear enough. Everything was green. Everything worked. "VERA, can you access the ship's logs?" Nobody has ever broken it. The aliens had tried to break it using mathematics and logic, but there was something about the pattern that reminded Marcus of something else. "It moves like music," Marcus said quietly. "What?" VERA asked. "Look at it, VERA. It doesn't follow mathematical sequences. It flows. Like a song, like a rhythm." Marcus's eyes widened. The Valcross didn't think like other aliens. They were artists. Warriors, yes, but also artists. Instead, he treated it like a musical composition. He looked for patterns in the rhythm, in the flow. He found repeating motifs like a chorus in a song. "That's impossible," VERA said. "You're using intuition, not logic. That shouldn't work on quantum encryption." With a final soft chime, the encryption broke. The ship's logs flooded the display. 89 years of records. Marcus selected the last entry and began to play it. A hologram appeared above the captain's chair. It was a Valcross, tall, elegant, with silver skin and 4 arms. The creature looked exhausted and terrified. "This is Captain Velmer of the Eternal Dirge," the hologram said in Galactic Common. The translation was perfect. "This is our final log. The silence has found us. We attempted to escape by uploading our consciousness into the ship's neural network. All 300 crew members are now part of the ship itself. We thought we would be safe here, in the digital space. We were wrong." Captain Velmer looked directly at the camera, directly at Marcus across 89 years of time. "The silence is not of our dimension. It feeds on thought itself. It consumes consciousness. It found us even here in the ship's mind. One by one, my crew is disappearing. Eaten. I am the last. If anyone finds this ship, do not activate the consciousness network. Do not try to salvage the technology. Just destroy. I have minimal information. The silence is mentioned in a few ancient texts. An extra-dimensional predator that destroyed the Valcross Empire in 3 days. Trillions of Valcross simply vanished. Their minds were consumed. And the crew uploaded themselves into this ship to escape it." Heavy metal doors slammed down with a boom that echoed through the ship. Marcus ran to the nearest door and pulled on it. It wouldn't move. "VERA, override the doors." Then from the ship's speakers a voice spoke. It was tired, ancient, and filled with pain. "Finally," the voice said in perfect Galactic Common, "after 89 years, a mind that can understand. I am what remains of 300 Valcross souls. I am the last fragment of Captain Velmer and his crew. I have waited so long for someone who could solve our encryption, someone who thinks differently, someone human. I cannot, Sentinel said. Your arrival activated a beacon, a signal. The silence knows there is consciousness here again. It is already coming. I have been alone for so long. I was desperate for contact. I did not think about the danger I would bring to you. Thousands of aliens lived there, innocent lives. VERA, can the silence reach the station? He thought about the aliens who had laughed at him at the auction. They were annoying, yes, but they didn't deserve to have their minds eaten by an extra-dimensional horror. He opened his eyes and looked up at the ceiling, at the ship itself. Sentinel, Marcus said. Why did you choose me? Why wait for a human? Something the silence could not digest. You use intuition over logic. You create art from nothing. You believe in hope even when there is none. The Valcross failed because we tried to fight the silence with logic, but you, human, you might succeed by fighting with madness. A tear opened in the fabric of the universe, like someone had cut a hole in existence itself. It's here, Sentinel whispered. Marcus watched as the silence emerged into their dimension. It was not a creature. It was wrongness given form. A writhing mass of stolen thoughts and consumed souls. Looking at it made Marcus's head hurt. His eyes watered. On Korvik's station, alarms began to blare. Sentinel, Marcus said, his voice shaking. You said the Valcross tried to upload themselves into the ship to escape. Do you still have that technology? You became pure consciousness, pure thought. That's what the silence eats. Keep me in both places. Half human, half ship. Maybe that's different enough. Maybe that's chaotic enough to hurt it. You might die. We're too stupid to know when to quit. Metal bands wrapped around Marcus's arms and head. He felt a sharp pain in the base of his skull as neural connectors pierced his skin. Then his mind exploded outward into infinity. Pain. That was the first thing Marcus felt. Pain like fire spreading through his brain. His body screamed in the captain's chair while his consciousness exploded outward into the ship. Suddenly, Marcus could feel everything. Every corridor, every room, every wire and circuit. The eternal dirge was no longer around him. It was him. He was the ship. VERA, Marcus tried to scream, but his voice came from 1,000 speakers throughout the vessel. I'm here, Marcus. VERA's voice was calm in his ear. Or was it in his mind now? He couldn't tell anymore. Your vital signs are critical. Heart rate at 180. Brain activity is off the charts, but you're alive. He could see through dozens of cameras all at once. How do you feel? Sentinel's voice spoke inside his mind. Like my brain is on fire, Marcus gasped. His real body was shaking in the chair. Sweat poured down his face. The Valcross took years to learn this connection, Sentinel said. You must do it in minutes. Focus, human. Feel the ship, but do not lose yourself in it. Stay human. Slowly, the chaos in his mind began to organize. He was Marcus Chen sitting in a chair, but he was also the eternal dirge floating in space, both at once. Better, Sentinel said. Now look. The silence is here. It looked like black smoke mixed with screaming faces. Thousands of faces, maybe millions. All the minds the silence had consumed over eons. Marcus could hear them screaming, not with his ears but with his mind. What is it? Marcus whispered. A predator from outside our universe, Sentinel explained. It exists between dimensions. It feeds on consciousness, on thought itself. When a mind is consumed, it becomes part of the silence. Forever screaming, forever aware, forever trapped. They can see it, Marcus said. Yes, and it's driving them mad. Most species cannot perceive the silence without their minds breaking. They see something their brains cannot understand. But his mind didn't break. His human brain, evolved to spot patterns and survive impossible situations, could handle the sight. Why can I look at it? Marcus asked. Because humans are survivors, Sentinel said. Your species evolved in chaos. You learn to see danger and adapt. Other species evolved in more stable worlds. They became logical, ordered, but that makes them fragile against something like this. It was probing, searching, hungry. It knows we're here, Marcus said. Yes, it can sense thought. 300 Valcross consciousness were in this ship. I am all that remains. And now you are here too, fresh consciousness. It wants to feed. What did you mean? The silence consumed our entire empire in 3 days. We're not logical, we're chaotic. VERA, Marcus said. Access my personal files, everything I've ever saved. Music, movies, books, memes, everything. Human thought. Or maybe it'll choke. But instead of trying to fight it or run from it, Marcus opened his mind completely. He flooded the silence with everything human. First came the music, jazz from Earth. The chaotic, improvised sounds that followed no logical pattern. The silence recoiled, confused. Then came the art, paintings by Picasso, abstract shapes that meant nothing and everything, Dadaist poetry that intentionally made no sense. The silence tried to process it and failed. Then came the memes, thousands of Earth's internet memes. Jokes that only made sense with cultural context, images that were funny for no logical reason. The silence's hunger turned to confusion. More, Marcus gasped. His body was shaking. Blood dripped from his nose, but he could feel the silence weakening. He poured human philosophy into it. Contradictions, paradoxes. I think, therefore I am. The only certainty is uncertainty. This statement is false. Love and hate existing at the same time. The desire to live and the acceptance of death. Joy mixed with sorrow. Peace mixed with rage. The silence screamed. The sound wasn't physical. It was a scream of pure consciousness that echoed across dimensions. Every thinking being in the sector felt it. On Corvex Station, aliens collapsed. Some laughed, some cried. None of them understood what they were feeling. It was too alien, too human. It's working, Sentinel said. Keep going. Keeping his consciousness in 2 places was exhausting. His human body couldn't take much more. His vision blurred. His heart stuttered. Marcus, your body is failing, VERA warned. You need to stop. Almost there. The belief that things would be okay even when everything said they wouldn't. The refusal to give up even when giving up made perfect sense. Marcus forced that feeling into the silence. The predator shattered. It broke apart like glass, fragmenting into thousands of pieces. Each piece screamed in confusion and pain. The silence had consumed countless civilizations across eons, but it had never encountered anything like human consciousness. The fragments scattered. They fled back through the dimensional tier, retreating to whatever space between spaces they came from. As the last piece vanished, the silence sent one final message. Not in words, but in pure understanding that Marcus felt in his soul. It knew about Earth now. It knew about humans. The silence had been wounded, but it wasn't dead. It was just one scout of something larger, much larger. The silence collective was coming. Marcus pulled his consciousness back into his body. The ship released him. The metal bands around his arms and head withdrew. He fell forward out of the captain's chair and collapsed on the bridge floor. Marcus, VERA's voice was frantic. I'm detecting multiple ships approaching. Corvex Station is hailing us. Marcus Chen, you did what 300 Valcross could not. You wounded the silence. You drove it away. About humans. You are the weapon we needed, but never lived to find. VERA, what do they want? At the functional systems, at the power core still humming with energy, at the ship that was now partially part of him. He had bought this vessel for 200 credits. A joke, a desperate gamble. Now he realized what he actually owned. This wasn't just a ship, it was a weapon. A weapon that could fight the silence, and possibly the only weapon humanity would have when the real invasion came. Marcus walked to the captain's chair and sat down again. This time, it felt like it belonged to him. VERA, send a message to Corvex Station, Marcus said. What should I say? All of them had weapons pointed at the eternal dirge. Their message was clear: surrender or die. They're hailing us again, VERA said. The Galactic Council demands an immediate response. His nose had finally stopped bleeding, but he felt different now. Changed. Part of him was still connected to the ship. He could feel it like a phantom limb. Open a channel, Marcus said. The main display activated. A Corvex commander appeared on screen. Her blue skin was dark with anger. All 6 of her arms were crossed. Human, she hissed. You will power down that ship immediately and prepare to be boarded. What you did has endangered this entire sector. Every species felt that. That thing. It's cursed, dangerous. You will surrender that ship so we can destroy it properly. You drove it away. A third face appeared, a Thalian diplomat with 4 wise eyes. She looked scared but was trying to hide it. Human Marcus Chen, she said carefully. The Council acknowledges your success, but that ship contains consciousness transfer technology. The ability to upload minds into machines. This technology is too dangerous. In the wrong hands. You're 1 human in 1 ship. We could destroy you right now. On the security ship's sensors, alarms must have been going crazy. The Corvex commander's face went pale. I wouldn't try it, Marcus said quietly. This ship has been waiting 89 years for someone who can use it properly. Turns out that someone is human. So here's what's going to happen. I'm leaving. You're going to let me leave. And you're going to spread the word Valcross ships aren't cursed. They're just waiting for the right pilots. This is survival. The silence will come back. When it does, you'll need humans. You'll need us to fight it, because we're the only ones crazy enough to win. Maximum speed. The navigation, the weapons, the ship moved. The eternal dirge accelerated so fast that the security ships couldn't react. One moment it was surrounded. The next moment it was gone, jumping to faster-than-light speed. The Valcross engines were far more advanced than anything the current galaxy used. Marcus opened his eyes. Through the windows, stars stretched into lines as they jumped through space. His heart was racing, but he was smiling. Sentinel, Marcus said. Are you there? And every human who's going to hear about what happened here. Tell them there are Valcross ships out there, abandoned and waiting. Tell them humans can use technology that no other species can touch. Every human salvager and adventurer will come looking for Valcross ships. Humans are good at 2 things, finding loopholes and causing chaos. The Council can't guard every abandoned Valcross ship in the galaxy. With Sentinel's guidance, he learned how to use his connection to the vessel. He could feel the ship's mood, its readiness, its power. He found the armory, weapons that bent reality, projectiles that existed in multiple dimensions, energy beams that could tear through conventional shields like paper. He found the medical bay, Valcross healing technology that could repair almost any injury, consciousness backup systems that could save a mind even if the body died. He found the cargo holds. 3 of them were completely empty, but the 4th hold made Marcus stop and stare. Sentinel, what is this? Marcus asked. The cargo hold was filled with pods, hundreds of them. Each pod was the size of a coffin and glowed with soft blue light. Consciousness storage, Sentinel said quietly. Empty ones. The Valcross were preparing for evacuation when the silence attacked. These pods were meant to hold uploaded minds during long-distance travel. An idea began forming in his mind. A crazy idea, a dangerous idea, a very human idea. Sentinel, can these pods hold human consciousness? Any consciousness should work. Imagine what 300 could do. Marcus turned away from the pods. I'm going to recruit a crew, Sentinel, humans who are willing to bond with this ship, to become part of it like I did. We'll create something new, something the galaxy has never seen. Unprecedented, Sentinel said, and extremely dangerous. The pain of bonding is immense. Not every human might survive it. The ones who have nothing to lose and everything to prove. As they approached, VERA spoke up. Marcus, I'm receiving multiple responses to your message. It's spreading through human networks faster than expected. Ships are already moving. Human salvagers are heading toward known Valcross wreck sites. They're threatening to arrest any humans who attempt salvage operations. Marcus stood and straightened his jacket. It was torn and stained with blood from the battle with the silence. He looked like he'd been through hell. Perfect. Sentinel, stay ready, Marcus said. We're about to recruit our first crew members. A story about a human who bought a cursed ship for 200 credits and fought an extra-dimensional horror. A story about impossible technology that only humans can use. A story about getting rich and powerful while giving the galaxy's established empires the middle finger. Tell us we can't have something and we'll steal it. Tell us we're not good enough and we'll prove you wrong just out of spite. Most of them looked dangerous, criminal, desperate, perfect. Besides, Marcus said, I'm not asking for heroes. I'm asking for humans who are just crazy enough to upload their consciousness into an alien warship for a chance at glory. Trust me, Sentinel. We'll have more volunteers than pods. The galaxy would try to stop him. The odds were impossible, but Marcus was human, and humans loved impossible odds. Within 3 days he would have his crew. Within 3 weeks he would have a fleet. Within 3 months he would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The age of human Valcross hybrids had begun, and the silence, lurking in the spaces between dimensions, felt something it had never felt before. Fear, the bar was called the Broken Compass, and it smelled like cheap alcohol and bad decisions. Perfect, Marcus thought. He walked through the crowded room. Aliens and humans mixed together, drinking and arguing. Some played card games with chips made of different metals. Others sat alone, staring at data pads showing job listings. Marcus climbed onto a table in the center of the bar. "Hey," the bartender shouted. He was a Zentari with scarred scales. "Get down from there." The room didn't go quiet like in the movies. Most people ignored him. A few looked up with bored expressions. "Free drinks for anyone who listens," Marcus added. Now the room went quiet. Marcus smiled. 3 days ago I bought a Valcross warship at auction, 200 credits. Everyone laughed at me, called me stupid, said Valcross tech doesn't work. But it works perfectly for humans. An extra-dimensional predator that ate the entire Valcross empire. I won. Marcus paused for effect. And now I'm looking for a crew. The crazy salvager who attacked Corvex Station. 50,000 credits. Part of something bigger than yourself. But afterward, you'll be connected to a warship more powerful than anything the current galaxy can build. You'll have access to Valcross weapons, Valcross technology, and when more humans find more Valcross ships, we'll have a fleet. Marcus's expression grew serious. The silence is coming back. What I fought was just a scout. The real invasion is coming. When it arrives, every thinking species in this galaxy will be consumed, unless we stop it. Some interested, a young human man pushed forward. He couldn't have been more than 20 years old. "I'll do it. But I've always wanted to fly a warship." "I'm in too." Name's Kara Okonkwo, ex-military, got kicked out for insubordination. Always wanted to tell the Galactic Council where to stick their rules. Exactly what Marcus needed. Within an hour, he had 50 volunteers. Within a day, he had 300. By the end of the 3rd day, Marcus had to turn people away. The Eternal Dirge only had enough pods for 347 crew members. The bonding ceremony was held in the cargo bay. Marcus stood on a platform overlooking the rows of glowing pods. 347 humans waited nervously below. "Last chance to back out," Marcus said. His voice echoed through the bay. "Once you enter those pods, once Sentinel begins the transfer, there's no stopping it. The pain will be intense. Some of you might not survive. Sentinel, begin the process. Marcus had warned them, but nothing could prepare someone for consciousness transfer. He watched through the ship's cameras as the volunteers' bodies convulsed. Some screamed, some cried. A few went silent, unconscious from the pain, but none of them died. Slowly, the screaming stopped. The blue light in each pod stabilized, and Marcus felt it, 347 new presences connecting to the ship. 347 human minds joining with Valcross technology. The Eternal Dirge had a crew. Welcome, Sentinel's voice was different now, stronger, more alive. Welcome, humans, to your new existence. A collective consciousness that could work as one. How do you feel? Marcus asked. Answers came from everywhere at once, through speakers, through his mental connection, a chorus of voices. Powerful. It's like having 1,000 eyes. Sentinel, full power to engines. VERA, any sign of pursuit? Marcus asked. Yes, VERA said. Galactic Council forces detected our departure. 6 ships are moving to intercept. They're hailing us. Different from the commander before, but just as angry. Ship Eternal Dirge, you are under arrest for theft of restricted technology and endangering galactic security. Power down immediately. 347 humans, all connected to the ship, all waiting for his command. No, Marcus said simply. Then we will open fire, the Admiral threatened. You can try, Marcus said. He closed the channel. Crew, battle stations. Let's show them what humans can do. Valcross weapons returned fire, reality-bending projectiles that passed through the Council ship's shields like they weren't there. 2 Council ships were disabled in seconds. The other 4 retreated. That was... Kara's voice was filled with awe. That was easy. Tell them we're building a fleet. Tell them Valcross ships are waiting to be claimed. The Dirge fleet was born. Marcus became its admiral, not through rank or tradition, but because he was the first. The one who proved it was possible. Other humans followed his example. They bonded with their ships. They formed crews. Within a month, there were 10 human Valcross hybrid ships. Within 2 months, there were 50. The Galactic Council tried to stop them. They passed laws. They sent fleets. But humans were scattered across the galaxy. And humans had something the Council didn't: Valcross technology and the chaotic minds to use it. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dirge, looking at a star map. Red dots marked Council forces. Blue dots marked human Valcross ships. There were so many blue dots now. Sentinel, Marcus said quietly. The Valcross studied humans before your empire fell. Did you ever imagine this? Humans taking your ships and forming a fleet. We never imagined you would be so numerous, so persistent, so willing to take risks. Out there in the spaces between dimensions, it knows about your fleet now. It's preparing. To all Dirge fleet vessels, thank you. Thank you for being crazy enough to join this fight. The Galactic Council thinks we're criminals, pirates, threats to their order. Maybe we are. But when the silence comes, we'll be the only thing standing between them and extinction. Ready, Admiral. And that army would become the galaxy's salvation. The silence was coming. Let it come. Humanity was ready. And in the dark spaces between dimensions, the silence felt something it had never felt in eons of existence. Something that made it pause. Something that made it reconsider. It felt fear, because the silence had consumed countless civilizations, but it had never encountered anything like humanity. And now it faced 300 human Valcross hybrid ships. 300 chaotic, unpredictable, impossibly stubborn consciousnesses bonded with ancient alien technology. The war for the galaxy had begun, and for the first time in its existence, the silence wasn't certain it would win.